It is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and it is 5 p.m. So I am going to begin our hearing examiner hearing with staff.
Thank you, Ms. Canning. Good evening and welcome to the City of Boise Hearing Examiner public hearing. Just a few things to start off with for tonight's proceeding. We actually don't have anyone attending on Zoom right now, so I'll just skip that portion of the intro. But our procedures for public hearings begin with a presentation from the planning team. Then we'll go on to the applicant and then to the representative of the Registered Neighborhood Association if they're present, and then followed by questions from the hearing examiner. After that, we do proceed to public testimony, starting with those that are in person and then those that are online if there are any. Each speaker should state their name and address for the record before speaking. And each member of the public is allowed up to 3 minutes for testimony. We are strict with this time as it is limited in code. Finally, the applicant and/or appellant is allowed time for rebuttal, after which the hearing will be closed and the hearing examiner will deliberate and render a decision. And with that, Ms. Canning, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I will call this meeting to order, and to let you know, I am an independent decision maker hired by the City of Boise and approved by the City Council. I make decisions on variances and administrative appeals. Any request to reconsider these decisions must be formally requested in writing pursuant to City Code. We only use a consent agenda to adopt findings related to the previous decisions and accept the minutes from previous meetings. All items that are placed on the consent agenda are approved without further public comment. For items not on the consent agenda, we will hold a full public hearing in the order just detailed a few minutes ago with staff. Thank you all for attending, and for the record, I, Anna Canning, will be the hearing examiner rendering decisions tonight. So our first order of business is to accept the minutes. I've read those and I approve them. And I was supposed to put those on the consent agenda first, so I will do that now. We'll put them on the consent agenda. I read them, I approve them. They're done. Okay. New business. So before us is item CVA 2418. And it's located at 6315 West Targhee Street. And this is a variance to deviate from the general site and building design form standards on 1.8 acres in an ILAIO light industrial with airport influence overlay zone. So first, we're going to hear from staff, Mr. Matt Dennis.
Thank you, Ms. Canning, and good evening. As you just said, the item before you is a variance request to deviate from the general site and building design form standards located at 6315 West Targhee Street on 1.8 acres in an I1-AI/O light industrial with airport influence area overlay zone. The subject property is an undeveloped corner lot without street improvements on either Targhee Street or Liberty Street and is currently being used as outdoor storage. The variance request is associated with the development of the property as a stone fabrication operation, which requires the involvement of heavy machinery such as forklifts, backhoes, and semi-trucks. The applicant proposes to construct a 9,369 square foot metal panel building containing a 1,860 square foot office and a 7,790 square foot warehouse, as seen here with the surface parking lot located between the building and Targhee Street. This design conflicts with the general site and building design form standards, which prohibit surface parking lots being located closer to a street than a primary building. The applicant cites safety concerns associated with the traffic of heavy machinery on site as a hardship that justifies the request, noting that the proposed site design allows the varying traffic intensities to bypass one another, and that the proposed parking location places the ADA accessible parking space closer to the office entrance than a compliant site design could. The findings for approval for variances are summarized on your screen. As detailed within the project report, the planning team was unable to identify a hardship since the site has a flat topography and is undeveloped without limitations to access or buildable area. The site currently does not contain permanent structures, curb cuts, or street improvements, and thus there are no physical limitations present that would necessitate the proposed site design. There are multiple site designs that would meet the development code and mitigate the safety concerns as detailed within the project report. On your screen now is an example of one of those. I would note that planning staff's role is not to design, but rather to review and provide feedback on site designs. There are multiple options available to the applicant since the 1.8 acre site is vacant, unimproved, and does not contain permanent structures, easements, topographical challenges, or any physical constraint that limits the buildable area on site. In conclusion, the planning team recommends denial of the variance request, and I will stand for any questions.
I don't have any for you at this time, Mr. Dennis. Thank you. Okay, now we will hear from the applicant, as listed as Eric Peterson. And Mr. Peterson, please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Ms. Canny. I'm actually Jim Otradowski. I am the principal architect in charge of the project with CSHQA Architects. It's Jim Otradowski, Otradosky. Our office is located at 200 Broad Street, Boise, Idaho. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening in regards to this case. In discussing the project and the staff report, really our biggest concern in designing this was really dealing with safety concerns because of the nature of the heavy equipment utilized on the site. We really wanted to develop a design that was separating the customer, the employee traffic as much as possible from the heavy vehicle, the semi-truck, the front-end loaders that are visiting the site and operating on the site on a daily basis. And we really, after looking at various site options and various site constraints, felt that locating it in the northwest corner was the most effective way to do that and to make that possible. We do acknowledge that staff did provide some alternative solutions. The one that was recently shown on the screen is probably the closest to what we had proposed. However, it does place the parking on the side of the building directly adjacent to loading doors where large slabs of stone are moved in and out of the building. So we still feel there's a concern of separating those uses from one another. When we looked at the site design, we looked at different kind of concepts and how we would approach it. And, we really feel that the way this was approached was not too different from how internal traffic control protocols are handled on construction projects for site construction under OSHA guidelines. While those apply to the construction period, we felt that that was a close match to how this was handled on a daily basis, because it really is a construction type activity that occurs on site. Within those protocols, they would call for separation of moving equipment and vehicles from construction workers, much like our proposed layout does. Establishment of safe access and egress points that are key determinants of project safety, and concern that staff proposed parking location places parking and circulation, and then our concern that staff proposed parking location moves the parking and circulation closer to moving equipment, particularly those utilizing the side bay doors, as I noted earlier. I might note that we use similar design concerns as we look at other projects, such as the design of schools, where we want to separate bus, garbage collection, and other delivery traffic from the location where parents drop off their children and where teachers arrive to school on a daily basis. We really want to move that heavy equipment away from the smaller, incompatible use. As we've looked at this project and we've looked at the zoning, we really feel that with the implementation of the new ordinance, that this appears to be an area where, kind of one size does not fit all. And it almost, in fact, appears that it could have been an oversight when there were exclusions of some uses from parking being located in front of the building. We really feel that industrial should have been included in those exclusions because of the nature of separating this heavy traffic from other uses on the site. In the interim, until that could potentially be addressed, we really feel like a variance is our only opportunity to address this. With that said, I would like to request approval to keep the parking to the northwest corner as far away from the heavy machinery and semi-truck traffic and loader traffic and as close to the building away from these operations to minimize mixing these two incompatible traffic types. We do acknowledge that the option that was shown, providing 2 curb cuts along Targhee, as noted by staff, would improve safety, and we would consider integration of 2 curb cuts along Targhee so we could further separate the traffic directly into that lot adjacent to the building and then have a completely separate curb cut used for semi-traffic and delivery to the site. With that, I think I will close my initial testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to have some questions for you later, but we'll go ahead and make our way through the other folks that are here to speak. Is there anyone representing the neighborhood association here? Is there a neighborhood association? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone, so we'll move on. I have, so we're going to open up the public hearing now, and I'll start with the sign-up sheet. And on the sign-up sheet, I have Thomas Chandler. And Mr. Chandler, again, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hearing Officer. My name is Thomas Chandler. I'm a managing member of Table Rock Vista, which is the property owner, and Table Rock Sandstone, which is the operator of the facility. And our address at 1424 North Orchard Street in Boise. We ask that this variance be approved for 3 reasons. The primary reason is safety. Add a little bit of background, our business is classified as inherently dangerous. And what that means is that we cannot claim we followed best practices if somebody got hurt, and that's a defense. If somebody gets hurt or property is damaged, we are liable. It's a strict liability requirement. That's what's called inherently dangerous. That's under the common law. In addition to that, because we're in the mining industry, not only do we have to comply with the strict safety regulations of OSHA and the common law, but we get the privilege of being regulated by NMSHA, the Mining Safety and Health, which is even stricter than OSHA. So we have very strict safety regulations on that side as well. And in addition, because of our background, the insurance companies tend to look at us a little askance. We can't get insurance through the normal markets. We have to get insurance through specialty carriers that do mining and fabrication. Safety is a very important issue to us. Sometimes we say, well, safety is a slogan. We have to do it. Our business is moving, mining, fabricating large stone blocks. These things weigh multiple tons. They can be only handled by huge heavy equipment, excavators and front end loaders. Brian Smith will deal with that more importantly. We need to keep people and parked vehicles away from this equipment. People cannot see in their operating equipment. They can't see behind them, beside them. Somebody's walking up next to them. They don't hear them because the machinery is noisy. The alternative presented by staff, we like the idea of the 2 curb cuts on Turkey. But in every case, the danger of mixing people and places with our equipment is great. The advantage of putting the parking in front of the building is we can use the building to help the barrier, to help keep people away from the equipment, the fabrication, and the saws and so forth. And that's very important to us. And if the city, it requires us to put parking where it is, it ends up sharing the responsibility for the risks that happens. The first issue is the safety. I cannot overemphasize. Second issue is airport zoning. We are in the airport zoning area. If I could approach you and just hand you a map.
Sure. Wait to talk until you get back to the microphone so we can get you on the record. There you go.
Yeah, and because we're in the airport zoning area, residential uses are not allowed in that. It almost has to be industrial. And being industrial, this needs to be looked at as an industrial area. So we're not talking about pedestrian traffic. We're not talking about bicycle traffic. We're talking about heavy equipment traffic in this area. And the third issue I wanted to talk about is what I call how we're treated with other people. I think I approach you with another. I just provide you with an aerial.
Okay, start over again. There you go, on the record.
Yeah, okay. I just provide you with an aerial photograph from Google of the surrounding area. And the issue is that all the other locations that have been developed in the area are industrial, and they all have parking in front of the building, between the street and the building, because they want to keep people away from the industrial activity. We want to be treated the same as the other people in the area. So, Mr. Examiner, I request that you approve the variance. Safety is very important to us. Number 2, in airport zoning, there'll never be residential. There'll never be schools, there'll never be offices. It's always going to be industrial traffic. And number three, we want to be treated equally. Thank you.
Thank you. I had one quick question. What was the initials for the mining regulations again? What were the initials of the mining regulations? Minshaw?
And
Nin.
M, let's see here, just to go.
Mining Safety and Health Association.
Okay, Mining Safety and Health Association. Okay, thank you
Yeah,
from
and
the
that is a-
audience. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a federal mining regulatory body. that
Okay.
Is fairly strict. Okay, thank you.
All right. I do not have other names on the agenda or on the sign up sheet, but I saw a hand. Go ahead and come on up and please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Mike Adler with Adler Industrial. My address is 255 South Capitol Boulevard, and I'm not related to the people that are developing this, but I have an interest from a standpoint of I am an industrial developer. I own 4 buildings within I guess within a block and a half of this location. 3 of them, actually all 4 I built in the last year and a half. And I would say that, they were all approved before this new zoning change. And I think that the zone change, there's an oversight in it, and specifically in section 11-4-6, parentheses 4, parentheses A. And it lists exclusions to the parking in the front, that or uses that are allowed to have parking in the front, and it should have included industrial. And I've spoken to Sean about it, the city planner, and he's looking into that right now. But I would say that 90% of all industrial buildings in not only in the Treasure Valley, but probably in the United States have pedestrian parking in the front and truck parking and yard storage, industrial yard storage in the back. And buildings are designed that way on purpose because you want your pedestrians, your customers, your employees to not to have to dodge trucks coming in and out when they're either going to work or going to the facility showroom. And so this is a very typical design that this group is presenting, and it's one that should be approved. I would think that with the current zone, the way the current zoning is written, I don't know that there's any industrial buildings that could be approved. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. 10% of the buildings that are out there would fit the zoning. It doesn't make sense.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your coming out to speak in favor of an application that wasn't yours. That doesn't happen all that often. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? We have one more hand. Come on up and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brian Smith. I'm the general manager of Table Rock Sandstone. My address, my office is 2251 South Empire Way.
Go ahead.
Was that it? All you needed?
Yeah,
Yep.
she writes all that down. She's very good, the clerk.
What I wanted to talk about is I run the day-to-day operations at our business, and we process a lot of stone every week. Right now, in a month, we process between 20 and 25 million pounds
Wow.
of stone that comes out of Table Rock Quarry at our facility that we're working at right now. We were looking at the building to be a opportunity for us to increase productivity and have nicer working space inside, but still needing the outside of the building to store all the stone that we bring in every week. And right now, we are bringing in 6 truckloads, that 6 truckloads a week to our yard. The weight of the quarry blocks weigh from 10 tons to 12 tons. So they take large machinery. We talk about forklifts and little loaders and skid steers. We use large excavators. I brought some pictures that I could show you or give to you to look at, showing the size of the rocks and also the size of machinery. Sometimes we have to use 2 pieces of machine to lift the rocks. And us being also mine, we are governed by MSHA. And right now, MSHA is pushing, in our last inspection that we had, they told us that they were implementing a surface mobile equipment safety program, which is because,
Safety program.
and
Okay.
OSHA is following in the same suit. So in our type of machinery, there's no visibility on the sides and in the back very well. And there's more accidents happening in the United States because of that in mines and processing, like pit mining, mining like we have with quarries, and also in facilities that the rock is processed. So they see it as a problem too, to intermixing people and heavy equipment together. And they're making suggestions of having to have backup alarm. I mean, they have backup alarms now that we need to use, but now they want us to have cameras on all of our equipment.
Oh.
So it's getting to be very serious on their behalf too, of the safety issues that they're asking for. The other piece is we don't just have one piece of machinery on the property at once. So when you're unloading a truck, you have a truck, and then you have 3 other machines running around the truck, unloading it in the facility. So it's not
Time.
a forklift, just lifting and unlifting.
Okay. And that was notice that your time was up. I did have a question for you. It
Yes.
was actually, I was going to ask Mr. Chandler, but I think you can answer this, but if you want to let him, that's fine too. You said that he said it was considered or classified as an inherently dangerous use under common law. Can you explain what that means, or can Mr. Chandler
I
explain
think
what
Mr.
that?
Chandler should.
Okay, thank you.
I have some pictures I'd like to.
Are they the same pictures that were submitted yesterday as additional photos?
I took some more.
Okay, go ahead and bring them up. I'll take a look at them. Thank you very much. Ooh, nice paper. Mr. Chandler, if you wouldn't mind. And I believe you need to, again, state your name and address for the record, just quickly.
Mr. Examiner, my name is Tom Chandler, Table Rock Vista and Table Rock Sandstone. And what it means legally, what I'm told it means, is that typically when somebody is injured or property is damaged, the person who's alleged to have damaged the property or injured the person can claim that he was not negligent. That is, he did all reasonable activities possible to be safe or to not do something wrong. So why you can sometimes have a traffic accident and nobody gets cited because it just happened. Okay. However, when something's classed as inherently dangerous, your defense of no negligence goes away. If you simply cause or part of the cause of the injury or accident, you are liable. It's called strict liability. So we don't want to have an accident and say we did the best we could. We don't want accidents.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mr. Dennis, would you, oh, it's already up. Thank you. I did want to, I forgot to note that I appreciated that the fact that you did try and give the applicants alternatives, and not just one, but several of them. So I thought that was of note. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Mr. Otradoski, did I get that right?
Yes.
I have I'm sorry. There's one other gentleman in the audience. Is there anybody else that wants to testify? Okay. If you could state your name and,
Jim Otradowski, CSHQA, 200 Broad Street, Boise.
I had a question for you. As you look at the site plan up there, there's 2 parking stalls along Liberty that are in front of the building. Maybe staff can point those out. You see them?
I think in that scenario, those stalls are left over from our scheme. They're not part of their proposed layout.
I understand that, but there are 2 stalls there that are in front of the facade as it faces
Oh,
Liberty.
yes,
Is there any reason those could not be moved?
those could probably be shifted eastward, yes.
Okay.
And may I point one other thing out on this scheme?
On their alternative scheme?
Yes,
No, you don't need to.
thank you.
You could provide some clarification on the entrances. So had you originally proposed 2 entrances on Targhee or just
No,
one?
We did not, but we do agree that the 2 entrances as shown by staff would improve safety.
Okay,
Entrance A would be utilized for car and visitor traffic directly into that lot. And then entrance B would be reserved solely for heavy truck delivery traffic, because having 2 entrances would further separate the incompatible uses on the site. And
Okay.
with feedback provided that we will not get a curb cut on the sides on Liberty, this provides much better usage and separation.
okay. And I think that was all I had for you now. Thank you for clarifying on those 2 issues.
Thank you.
And I forgot to check, is there anybody online? Okay. So everybody's testified that wants to testify? I see nodding. All right. Now, is there your chance for a rebuttal? No one's spoken against the project, Mr. Otradoski, but if you would like, you have an opportunity to rebut. Okay. And I'm getting a shaking of the head. So with that, I am going to close the public record. Normally, this is where I would render a decision, but I'm not. I'm going to, this is such a safety issue. I am concerned that the code is pushing this project toward something that may be unsafe, so I want to review the in-depth into the code as well as the variance findings and prepare a decision for you. So I hope to get it done within the next couple days. It may take a week or so before we get a decision letter out to you, but that's what'll happen. I'll get materials over to staff. They will prepare an official decision letter for you, and then you'll have that decision. So I know it's a little unfulfilling. I apologize for that, but I think that is the better way to go tonight. So with that, I believe we are at the end of our agenda. And I will adjourn. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating tonight. I appreciate it.